Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer. Served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. It is that time again. Hour number 2. Brewers and Dodgers in a battle at American Family Field. That game still knotted up at 1 as we sit here, top of 7. Quintana out of the game. Nice outing for him, giving him only 1 run against the Dodgers. Aaron Ashby now in the game against the Dodgers. Brewers going for the sweep of the Dodgers this afternoon, trying to extend that Dodgers losing streak to 6 with a victory today. That would do it. So we'll see if that actually ends up happening or not. We are talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. We just had Mike Evans on from Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth from 104.3 The Fan in Denver. In the last segment, talking about the connection of Russell Westbrook and the Bucks and learning more about Russell Westbrook. Now we turn our attention back to the Fan Guest Hotline powered by Gruber Law and being joined now by Dwayne Rankin. Follow him on Twitter at Dwayne Rankin. He's Suns beat writer for the Arizona Republic. Dwayne, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Just try to wrap our heads, wrap our arms around all these different players being talked about with the Bucks. We've had Chris Paul being attached to the Bucks. We've had Bradley Beal. We've had R.J. Barrett. We've had Kuminga with Golden State. We've had your guy Bradley Beal. I mean, they're attached to everybody. It feels like the Bucks are going to do something else here. How surprised were you, Dwayne, by the Bucks and what they did with Miles Turner and then waiving Damian Lillard?
I wasn't. Well, you got to be surprised by Lillard. That's some historic stuff that they pulled right there. But as far as the trade-off, getting Miles Turner, I mean, Giannis, he's a 4. He's not going to be a 5. So you got to have a big man and. With Lopez, moving on, and they needed that. So there you have it. I mean, Miles, he showed it obviously in the playoffs this year. He's shown it throughout his career, but he was on the center stage in this postseason and played well. And I think it'll be an interesting fit to see how he plays with Giannis, particularly on offense. I think defensively he'll just do what he does or has been doing, but. Offensively, I'm curious to see how that mix works. Him being a pick and pop guy, a guy that can shoot threes. I'm curious to see how that works with Giannis.
Because Brook Lopez is a guy that could stretch the floor as well, and has stretched the floor thanks to Mike Budenholzer being the coach when they got Brook Lopez from the Nets. And Lopez at that point was a great guy, back to the basket guy, around the rim, did his thing, and then Bud made everybody learn how to shoot three-pointers to play for him going forward. How would you compare and contrast the offensive game to those two guys and how it works with Giannis, in your opinion?
I just think Miles, he can put it on the floor. Lopez couldn't put it on the floor.
True.
Miles is able to get 2 dribble, pull up. He's able to, if needed, he can get all the way to the rim from a certain spot. Brook was once he was out at the 3, you wasn't going to see him try to get by anybody. That's the major difference in the 2 as far as offensively. So, yeah, Brook shot 3s, but he wasn't going to do a head fake and then try to no. But where Miles is able to draw you and then dribble around, and like I said, I'm curious with spacing. How does that work with Giannis? You don't want to necessarily dribble into a space that maybe Giannis is already occupying. So I'm curious to see if Miles just becomes just a guy that is just shooting threes like Lopez, or are they finding ways for him to be more of a threat outside of that area? And he's active. He's younger, so you're talking about a younger body as opposed to Lopez. So you got younger at that position.
Dwayne Rankin, Suns beat writer for the Arizona Republic, joins us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Fan. Follow him on Twitter at Dwayne Rankin. Let's talk about Bradley Beal now. Just a little background here in Milwaukee. Pretty much for a good portion of Chris Middleton's time here in Milwaukee, there has been an ongoing comparison between him and Bradley Beal when Bradley Beal was with the Wizards. And the famous thing that everybody liked to do year to year was player A and put up the numbers, and that would be Middleton or Beal, and then player B, and they'd put up the other numbers. And normally Middleton's numbers would probably be better than Beal, and then everybody would be like, so who do you really want? Because there's been such a want for Bradley Beal here for so many years to replace essentially Chris Middleton. Now you get to the end towards the later parts, and Middleton is now gone, and the Bradley Beal contract that weighed down the Phoenix Suns and now trying to get a buyout or whatever's going to happen there. Now folks are still, I think, wanting Bradley Beal if they can get him for a veteran minimum or a much cheaper price.
Cheaper rate.
Where does this stand now with Beal and the Suns? Are we expecting this to get done at some point?
I'd be shocked if this does not happen. The conversations have gone too deep into the woods to all of a sudden go, well, you can come back. I mean, that's not going to happen. So maybe you get lucky and you find a trade partner. But at this point, the way it's going, he's going to get bought out. So then it becomes when you're doing a situation like this, if you're working from his end, you're looking to see, okay, what team can pay you X, Y, and Z? What team can make up that difference that the Suns would pay? So that's part of this too. It's not just the buyout. It's okay. We have this amount. Who out there is willing to pay this amount to bring Bradley Beal in? And so that's a huge component of this process.
Because I think from a Bucs standpoint, they're not going to be able to pay as much as some of these other teams. These other teams probably going to be able to pay him $5 million or somewhere in that area. The Bucs in our situation, they're going to have to pay him under $4 million in order to get him to come play here. So I think from their situation, it has to be the want to play with Giannis and maybe the want to maybe ring chase for a year and then try and go hit it big again. Because I can't imagine Beal is going to sign a multi-year deal for less money. I'm guessing he'll go somewhere for 1 year.
I mean, here's the deal. Beal, he got the contract of a lifetime at the time.
Yep.
And you're not getting that again. So you likely are going to want to set yourself up if you're thinking you got one more huge payday in you. And if that's the case, just mapping out what you just described. If he goes to Milwaukee, has a huge year, then it becomes okay, he can still play. And then somebody might be willing to say, okay, we'll give you some money. But, as far as him hitting the jackpot like he did with the Wizards, that's not going to happen.
Right.
So you're looking at a deal where it would be a prove-it year for Beal. And it would almost be like a guy, in a position where, hey, look, I need to show that I still have it. And if you're playing with Giannis, you're going to get open shots. You're going to get multiple open shots. And you're going to play with somebody who not only draws a bunch of attention, but is going to get you a situation where you can get out and run because of his ability on the defensive end, along with Miles Turner. So you're going to be replacing the Damian Lillard. I just wrote here recently that we know Milwaukee's not Los Angeles weather-wise.
That's right.
We know Milwaukee is not California or Golden State. That's a team that's been mentioned as well. But as far as playing with the best player out of the teams that have been mentioned, it's Giannis. And so you might have a chance in the East the way it is right now with the injuries when you're looking at Tatum and Halliburton and New York not necessarily being that team maybe that's ready to win a championship. It's a little bit open. And Milwaukee with him, he might be thinking, hey, I might have a chance to win a title there. But it's a lot that's going into this, and location is a part of it.
Talking with Dwayne Rankin, Suns beat writer for the Arizona Republic. Follow him on Twitter at Dwayne Rankin. He joins us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's with me, Steve Sparky, Fifer on the Fan. Offensively, I think the one thing all Bucs fans agree on is they need somebody that can get them 20, 21, 22 points a night, like you were talking about replacing Lillard. not necessarily from the point guard position, but just from a position, because Giannis has had Chris Middleton for all those years that could give you around 20 a night. Then he gets Lillard, and because of health, it didn't work out over 2 years. But he's never been put into a situation where it had to be him and a bunch of dudes around him to try and carry this thing to the NBA Finals. I think that's a tall order for anybody. So for me, the question just is, I think Beal averaged like 17 last year. Can Beal be that second guy that can give you, 21, 22 a night to go along with Miles Turner's 16 or 17 and then Giannis's 30?
Well, you got to also understand that Beal was sharing the ball with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant.
Yep.
Who were top 10 in the league in scoring. So,
right.
So wasn't as many shots to go around with those two on the floor. So Bill would get more shots. I mean, this is a guy that shot over 40% from three.
Really good.
So it's almost like I've been saying all along. I think it's time for Bradley Beal to be a catch and shoot guy. I understand that he can do more. I get he can get buckets off the bounce, but it's time to turn into Ray Allen and just say, you know what, I'm gonna sit over here and wait for the ball and shoot threes. The way he can shoot it from out there, you can. Couple dribble pull up, you can have more to your game, and we know he has more in his bag, but I think it would be less on his body if he plays a certain way. Sometimes, Brad, when you watch him play, you can tell he's feeling good. He's going to do something. You're like, come on, no, what are you doing? Like you're a health, you got health issues, man. Like, why are you trying to dunk that one? Like, why are you trying? Like you don't have to prove this physical thing anymore. It's about maintaining and doing what is necessary to help to win. And doesn't mean you got to go out here and try to 6, 7 dribbles and try to shake somebody. No, simplify, keep it simple. If he plays with Giannis is doing the work. He's driving, drawing, dishing. All you got to do is make the shot. I mean, it's a dream situation to play with a guy like that, and so with Giannis, him averaging over 6 assists the last 2 years, he's a couple of made threes away from almost averaging a triple double.
That's right.
So it's like, Brad, hey man, you can help that cause by just being able to catch and shoot, and so that's where I think the fit in Milwaukee would be ideal for him in that sense of being a guy that could knock down threes. And if he hits a few, they come out and rush him. He can dribble around and get into his mid range. And Bill is a three level scorer. I mean, he's that. But the flip side is he's only played 53 games the last 2 years. He hasn't played 60 games in, like, I want to say 3 or 4 years. So it's like you'll be replacing a guy that was lost for the season with an injury, but he has had injury issues.
So let me ask you this. Last question. What is he like off the floor with his teammates in the locker room? Is he a me guy? Is he a we guy? Does he take young dudes? I don't know how many young dudes you all have, but does he take young dudes, under the wing and try and help guys? Who is he?
Well, I'll put it like this. He had a strong connection with the rookies this year, particularly Ryan Dunn. He really took Ryan Dunn under his wing in terms of how to approach the game. He's a faith guy. He expresses that on the regular. Before every interview he does, he says, "Thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ." This is win, lose, or draw. This is 30 points or 5.
Gotcha.
That's just how he presents himself. Obviously, a family man. Married, has sons, has kids. So clearly, that's part of who he is, and that was a huge part of when he left Washington for Phoenix. It was like, I'm uprooting my family for this situation. And he's getting ready to most likely do that again. There could be a case where if you're talking about, say, a 1-year deal, the family might stay in Phoenix.
Sure.
Because they've kind of established something here for a couple of years, and then he goes and just plays ball. So that's Chris Paul. He did the same thing. He with the Clippers, his family's there. He got on another team, his family stayed there. So Bill could do the same thing. But as far as that goes, he's lighthearted. He can be sometimes when he talks, people kind of take it the wrong way, like, okay, it kind of sounds like player speak in terms of what he would say.
Sure.
But he'll just come out and just say, look, we stunk it up. We didn't defend. We didn't rebound. I didn't do this. I didn't do that.
I like that.
I turned the ball over. So he will openly admit when he does not play well. But this is still a very confident player who thinks that he is just as good as any guy in the league. And I think that with that mentality, along with someone who's thinking, okay, I need to prove this in a new situation, you could have something with him with the asterisk of stay healthy.
Dwayne Rankin, Suns beat writer, Arizona Republic. Follow him on Twitter at Dwayne Rankin. If you had questions about Bradley Beal, again, outside of the injury issue, I think everybody feels a lot better after listening to this interview with you that, okay, we're good. If Bradley Beal comes here, I think everybody's probably going to be on board with that decision. He definitely would fill a void that they definitely have to fill here at some point in the near future. Dwayne, thanks so much for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
No problem, guys. Y'all be easy.
Take care. There he is, Dwayne Rankin, Suns beat writer for the Arizona Republic. Joining us on the Fancast Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Brewers now down 2-1. Aaron Ashby, infield hit, couple of walks, and then they went with one out. And then in came Nick Mears. He gave up a fly ball, sacrifice fly to left field. So it's 2-1. Dodgers over the Brewers. Will Smith at the play with a couple on and 2 outs. Brewers now down 1, a top of 7. After hearing Dwayne Rankin, Charlie, what are your thoughts now about Bradley Beal in a Bucks uniform?
I'd still rather have Russell Westbrook, if I'm being honest. I think Russell Westbrook will be able to do more things for this Bucks team. I think overall Bradley Beal, yes, fills that scoring role for you. At the same time, I don't believe that he's going to be that much of a defender for you. I don't think he's really going to be able to carry any ball handling duties, primary ball handling duties for this team. And honestly, I don't think he's even consistent enough as a shooter at this point in his career.
40% from three is pretty good, man.
In a smaller sample size, if you look at that over a full season, I just don't think that's sustainable for a guy like Bradley Beal.
Fair enough. I would take Bradley Beal over Westbrook every day of the week. Every single day of the week. I wouldn't even think twice about it to make that move going forward. But we'll see what they do. Poll question up that Charlie has put up. Have you put it up already, or is it going up?
It's going up.
It's going up right now at the Fan Milwaukee, Facebook and Twitter. Who would you prefer as your starting point guard for the Bucks for this upcoming season? Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, or the combination of KPJ and Ryan Rollins? Who would you prefer as your starting point guard if you got to make your pick as far as who's running this offense going forward? Nicolay Law Fan Talking Text Line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Sound off with a recorded voice message on the Odyssey app as well. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's as we broadcast live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Time for your fan weather forecast. Right now, 78 degrees, partly cloudy, real feel of 81 degrees, clear skies for the remainder of the night, and a low of 60. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie using other side of the glass. Brewers escape, thanks to Nick Mears, that last inning with only giving up a run. Brewers down 2-1. What is it? Bottom of 7, I believe, correct? Bottom of 7 now. And we will see exactly what the Brewers have in them here to come back here late and make a move of some sort. To come back and either win this game or at least tie this game against the Dodgers. So looking forward to seeing what that looks like going forward. I will say this. The Brewers, for the most part this year, do not appear to be a team that gives up, Charlie, at the end of the day. They seem to like to hang around and put up that fight at the end when, maybe most teams would have rolled over and played dead.
Well, it's nice that the bottom of our lineup is some of the most clutch players in baseball, it feels like, especially when you are hanging around at the end of these games. I feel pretty confident in the Brewers when it comes to the 7th inning or later. As of late, at least on the offensive side, I don't know about on the pitching side always.
Well, and the bullpen, again, has been taxed. Like, Jared Koenig comes into that game yesterday, and I was scared out of my mind when he came into that game. I was like, oh, Lord, here it goes. Mizorowski did so well, and now we're going to blow the whole thing by putting Koenig in there. I really think a part of it is he's overworked. I feel like Nick Mears pitches every freaking game. Like, does he ever get a day off? I feel like every game he's either warming up and doesn't come in, or he's warming up and he does come in. These guys,
Uribe's the same way.
Uribe's another one. And to me, I worry that at the end of the day, when you get to the playoffs, that's going to be when we're all going to be like, oh my goodness. Like, I cannot believe where we are right now with this team, because our relievers are going to have like no arms left and are going to be absolutely dying at that point. And that's going to create big problems. So we'll see how that turns out. Caleb Durbin on with a errant throw. Was that the third baseman? Who made that throw? Threw it over the first baseman's head. Yeah, Rojas. Made a horrible throw. Let's talk a little bit about this point guard situation with the Milwaukee Bucks and where we sit currently. And we have Russell Westbrook, who we talked with Mike Evans from Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth from 104.3 The Fan. He joined us at 2:40. We talked to him about Russell Westbrook. He said there's moments where you want to puke into a garbage basket watching him play offense. So that's not encouraging. We have Dwayne Rankin, Suns beat writer from the Arizona Republic. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, because we're going to do a poll tomorrow with RJ Barrett and Bradley Beal. But this one is strictly about point guard. And Bradley Beal is not a point guard, even though Phoenix thought he was when they got him, apparently. So we have Russell Westbrook being connected. We have Chris Paul being connected, who was with the Spurs last year, hasn't done anything significant in 3 years. And then you have Kevin Porter Jr. and Ryan Rollins at the end of the day. And there's some of this belief that if you don't bring in a point guard and that you let Rollins and KPJ continue to play with Giannis, that chemistry wins out over a couple of old guys that you would bring in.
Behind the back, down the line, and the three-pointer is good. What a sequence right there. Behind the back, dime, down the line. Rollins finishes it all.
Giannis behind the back to Rollins for 3. So you have that chemistry, Kyle, courtesy of FanDuel Sports Wisconsin. You have that chemistry that's kind of already established with Rollins and Giannis. You know Giannis loves KPJ. Remember all their brotherly love that they had on the court. Bromance, it kind of felt like watching those two play. So you know there's that chemistry. If you bring in one of these other guys, it's going to be at the expense of one of these two other guys that, aren't proven commodities like Westbrook and Paul, don't have the long history of a career like these guys do. So the poll question is up right now, and I want you to participate on the phones as well if you can get a way to make a phone call. Who would you prefer as the starting point guard for the Bucks right now? Now, as of right now, they have not signed Paul. They have not signed Westbrook. They do have KPJ and Rollins signed. Who would you prefer? Paul, Westbrook, or the combination of what they had last year, Porter Jr. and Ryan Rollins? Nikolay Love, Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Sound off with a recorded voice message on the Odyssey app. Who do you prefer to be the starting point guard for the Milwaukee Bucks. Charlie Usen, I will let you start this one.
Out of all these options, I think Chris Paul is the person that I would want to be the Milwaukee Bucks starting point guard. I think he is the best overall defender out of the 4 players that we're looking at here in this situation. I think Rollins has potential to be there, but right now he just isn't
KPJ gets a lot of deflections.
He's the same way as like a Russ, though, when we were talking about him before with Mike Evans, where he just plays with really high energy, and sometimes that ends up in getting 5 steals in a game. Other times it ends up with him making a lot of really bad choices in those moments that gets him blown by. And I wouldn't really call that a good defender. I would call that an opportunistic defender. I think when I look at Chris Paul, he is just the one that fills all the different holes that this Bucks team is looking for.
So we're trying to get someone down from San Antonio. I reached out to the play-by-play guy. He just recently retired, and he's traveling, so he couldn't do it today. So then we were trying to figure out somebody else that we could get on to talk to Chris Paul. So I would really like to get somebody on to get the story on Chris Paul off the court and in the locker room and all of that. Because I believe that Chris Paul would be good for this young basketball team. He would be a mentor type player for both KPG and Rollins. I think Chris Paul would be okay, starting, but playing 20 minutes a night maybe and splitting time with these other guys. I don't think that would be a big deal. Westbrook, I'm completely out on. Scares the death out of me. I just, no. Yes, he's going to have nights where he's going to be good. And then you're going to call up and yell and scream at me and tell me, I told you Russell Westbrook's awesome, Sparky. Okay. But then there's going to be nights where you're going to be puking in your own garbage basket and not wanting to call the next day to Wisconsin Sports Daily to have me bragging on you that he stunk, right? And I don't want him to stink. I'm a Bucks fan. I want him to play well. I want to win basketball games. I want to see Giannis win another championship before this is all said and done. That's what I want to see. So I'm out on Westbrook. He don't get my vote. So my vote right now is Chris Paul or the combination of KPGA and Rollins. I'm open for discussion on which way I should go on that one. Nicolay Law Fan talking text line 414-677-1250. Trav and Brown Deer, it's been a minute. How are you doing, Trav?
Pretty good, better day by day.
Good.
But I'm definitely with the Westbrook, I like Chris Paul, but, he likes to slow it down a little bit. And if Giannis wants to, Westbrook pushes it a little more, if he's bringing it up and you got Giannis coming up on the wing or something. And I mean, a little more faster yet. So
you like Russell Westbrook over, say, KPJ and Rollins?
Oh, definitely Rollins. I don't know. Rollins just something I just don't. Yeah.
You don't like Rollins. All right, fair enough. That's good, Trav. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. He joined us there on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. He hops off. You can hop on 414-677-1250. Who do you prefer as your starting point guard for this Bucks team? Paul, Westbrook, or the combination of KPGA and Rollins? I am not yuck on KPJ. I am not yuck on Ryan Rollins. I like both players. Both players got me excited at different moments of the season last year. Kevin Porter Jr., I think, is a more talented basketball player than Ryan Rollins. Okay? I think he's more athletic than Ryan Rollins. I think his ability to score in bunches more than Ryan Rollins does. Kevin Porter Jr. has the ability to make more circus shots more consistently than Ryan Rollins does. Ryan Rollins, to me, feels like a real nice safe play, right? Not going to turn over the ball a lot. Not going to make a lot of dumb decisions. Not going to be overly aggressive. It's going to take what's given to him, make the right pass, take the open shot, and you're never probably going to look at a game and go, Rollins cost us. KPJ, you may say that quite a few times throughout the year, but you also may say a bunch, he won us that game. He won us that game. Without him, boy, we're screwed. Thank God for Kevin Porter Jr. So to me, it's a little of, and I don't want to put this on him, but it's a little early Russell Westbrook type deal where there's games where you're like, oh, damn. Like, Durant was doing his thing, Harden was doing his thing, but Westbrook just carried them in that game, right? And then there's other games you're like, whew, good thing we had Durant to bail us out because Westbrook was brutal shooting the ball tonight. That's the type of thing. I think he's a better shooter than Russell Westbrook without looking at numbers, not looked at numbers, just eye test. I feel more comfortable with him taking a three. I feel more comfortable with him taking jump shots. I like the Chris Paul idea. I'm just going to tell you. I like the Chris Paul idea because he's a vet, and I think he can help Porter Jr. and help Rollins. It's going to be a one-year deal. You're not signing Chris Paul to a 3-year contract, right? So it's going to be a one-year deal. So I think that benefits this team for the next several years, having him be a mentor to these two young guys and some of the other young players on this team as well. So I like that. I like having Paul on the floor as an extension of Doc as far as what they want to run and getting them in and out of things the way they want. I don't like as much of him in transition and so forth because he's an old man now, right? Not as nimble and quick as Porter Jr. and some of these other guys. This is a tough one for me. Go vote in the poll question. At The Fan Milwaukee on Twitter. Did you put it on Facebook too or just Twitter?
Just Twitter.
Just Twitter. At The Fan Milwaukee on Twitter. Go vote on this one. Who would you prefer as the starting point guard for the Bucks this year? Paul, Westbrook, or KPJ and Rollins? And I am telling you, I am conflicted with which way to go on this one. Conflicted. And then Charlie, of course, Willie wanted to make this complicated, added other as the fourth option. I wouldn't even put it the fourth option. But regardless, that's what I would say. Aaron tweets at The Fan Milwaukee. Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook, question mark. Is it 2015? No, it's not 2015. Then by all means, if you would rather have KPJ and Rollins, then go vote for the question marks. Because, again, those two guys are question marks. Neither of those two guys are proven commodities. So if you want to roll with a question mark at point guard going into this season with Giannis and Miles Turner, then roll with the question marks. I think my vote is Chris Paul. It took me a while.
You got there.
It took me a while. But I just think that veteran presence for 1 year with these two younger guys, Rollins and KPJ, can really benefit them the rest of their career going forward. Providing Paul is the mentor that I think he is. We got to find somebody in San Antonio to come on and confirm whether or not I'm right or not on this. But providing he is that guy, then yeah, that makes the most sense to me. You go get that deal done. Also makes a lot of sense to go to the Potawatomi Sportsbook, baby. It's the best place to watch sports. Best place you're going to find. Promise you, there's nowhere in this area that is a better venue to watch sports. 30 sporting events at one time. It's a beautiful thing. Colorful, as Charlie would say. 6,500 square feet. Couple hundred seats. I always say, go ahead, reserve online ahead of time. Nominal fee, but that goes towards your food and beverage. Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. Now that nominal fee towards food and beverage, you got the Potawatomi Sportsbook right there. Burgers, salads, wings, all-day brunch, desserts and pastries made every day on site at the Potawatomi Hotel Casino. 48 beers, over a dozen different specialty cocktails. Man, you are going to be living the life. Having all these sports games on, having a couple wagers out there on top of that. Then if you're in a hurry, you're like, dude, I got kids, I got a wife, I got all this stuff going on. I can't go spend 3-4 hours in a sportsbook, Sparky, but I love to make a couple bets. I got you. You just cruise on up that parking garage, 4th level, get out, walk in, kiosk right there on the right side, make your wagers, you hop back in your car and be on your way. Or if you're like, yeah, I want to do that, but I want to go check out one of these cool fine dining restaurants like the Steakhouse or the Asian cuisine that they got going on at the other restaurant and all these different options that you have. No problem. Make your bets at the kiosk. Go have your dinner at your dinner reservations. When dinner's done, head on down to the sportsbook and watch the rest of the game. No brainer. Potawatomi Sportsbook. Check it out today. Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. Coming up next, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. What will they be today? We will find out next. That's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's. Live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios. Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the fan studios. Sparky here. Charlie using over there. Brewers losing 2-1, bottom of 8 to the Dodgers. Top of the order up for the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll get to Charlie's sounds of the day. Brewers apparently made a trade during the game. I just checked my email, saw it like an hour ago. Stuart Baroa, an outfielder they get from the Dodgers for cash money. Never a good sign of how good the player is when you get cash money for a player. Nonetheless, I tasked Charlie in the break of finding out who the heck Stuart Baroa is. And with that move, they moved on from Elvin Rodriguez again. Your thoughts, Charlie, on Stuart Baroa, outfielder now with the Milwaukee Brewers?
Looks like every other single player the Brewers have ever brought in a minor league uniform. So far this season, he's batting.
How big is he? Stop. How big is he?
He's 5'9", 178.
We got an affinity with short people, which is great as a short guy. Like that's cool. Like Frelick's a short guy. He just got hit by a pitch to lead off the inning, and he's on base. But still, I don't think that hit him.
He got his belt loop, I think, but that counts.
I guess. Wow. All right, go ahead.
But Stuart Baroa so far this season in AAA between Toronto's AAA team and the Dodgers AAA team, so this is the second time he's being moved this season, is batting .270 with a .358 on-base percentage and a .703 OPS. He has 1 home run with 15 RBIs, but he has 20 stolen bases.
20 stolen bases, so he can run a little bit.
Yeah, he's quick.
All right. That's at least positive. I doubt we'll see him much in the major league level, but we'll see how this all plays out. So, deal done for the Dodgers. I always wonder how that happens. Y'all are just sitting in a suite talking, and somehow or another you end up with this player that probably isn't that good for cash money.
Probably. I mean, there's no better spot to do it.
It's like, hey, Matt Arnold, probably going to cut this, dude. You got any interest? I'll give it to you for $100.
Why not?
$500, whatever. It's got to be more than that for cash money. I'm not quite sure.
Go run down the concessions, grab me a hot dog real quick. You can have them.
You can have them, right?
Yeah.
Buy me a hot dog, man. Put some of that secret stadium sauce on it, and we are good to go to get Stuart Baroa. So there you go. That is the newest member of the Brewers, Stuart Baroa. No, you're not here.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on The Fan.
All right, let's get to it. Charlie, sounds of the day. What say you, Charlie Usen?
All right, so today all 3 sounds are coming from the same source. It is Foul Territory yesterday, where MLB Players Association Deputy Executive Director Bruce Meyer joined that show, and he had lots of interesting clips to play from that, but I just picked 3 of them for us here today. First off, we're going to hear from Bruce Meyer talking about the MLB and what their focus is on right now, and that is implementing a free agency deadline.
Yeah, I mean, so that's an issue that's come up, and we've heard this from the league, and they've said it publicly. They've said, wouldn't it be great? The winter meetings would be really exciting, and look how exciting it is in the cap sports. I mean, in the cap sports, it's a game of musical chairs. And yes, the teams, only certain teams have room, and it gives them a lot of leverage. To the extent this has come up in bargaining, we've talked to our players, we've talked to agents, to say, hey, how do you think this would actually work, in practice? And what we've heard, I'm going to say unanimously, is that would give more leverage to the clubs than to the players, just like you're saying. Yes, our free agent system drags along. Yes, there are players that, have to wait until late in the game to get contracts. But again, it's been pretty unanimous, when we talk to agents, for example, that having a free agent deadline would not be good for players. Now, there are other ways you could try and incentivize early signings. You could offer a team that signs during the winter meetings, a compensatory draft pick or something like that, competitive balance pick. There are things that you can do, but again, the league so far has been focused on a free agent deadline, which we don't think is in the interests of players, and nor does anybody else on our side.
I don't even understand how that would work. So you're going to have a free agent deadline, and then if you're not signed by that, you're out of the league that year? Like, what the heck does that even mean? If you don't sign by the free agent deadline of February 15th in Major League Baseball, then you have to be in the minors to start the year for whatever team signs you. There's no way if I was a representative for the players union that I would ever to agree to any type of nonsense. I get it. You're frustrated because they slow play the heck out of some of these guys, and some of these guys don't get signed so spring training gets going. I get it. But I got some news for y'all. The only reason y'all don't get signed is because your agents think they're going to play tough ball and wait these dudes out and get you more money. Then when spring training starts, then they panic and then just try and get you whatever deal they can. Odds are most of you had already heard from teams by that point, and your agent priced you out of it and screwed you up. That's how you end up getting slow played, when guys don't want to pay you what you or your agent think you're worth, and you want to hold out, and then you want to complain that you don't have a job come spring training. Well, whose fault is that? You're the one that told them no. You bet on yourself and lost. That's your fault. That ain't their fault at this point, Charlie.
Yeah, I think this is kind of crazy hearing this, that they want to put in this deadline as a way of supposedly deterring the owners from slow playing these players and get them to sign.
It's not going to change anything.
It's not going to do anything. These owners, most of them, I think, could care less about the success of the team as long as they're still making money through that organization. So if you look at a team like Oakland, who's willing to move their stadium wherever and their team wherever, the way they're running that organization is that people are still showing up, which means we're making money until people stop showing up. And then he just said, let's move the team. He doesn't care about how good that team is.
Nope.
He just cares about the money coming in, and this isn't going to change any of that.
That's correct. It's not going to change a thing. All right, next clip.
Next up, we're going to hear from Bruce Meyer as he talks about a revenue sharing change that the MLBA proposed at the last CBA meetings, but the MLB apparently had no interest.
First of all, on revenue sharing, they can't change the way they share revenues without negotiating with us. That's something that's been collectively bargained for,
years,
decades, and including in the last round of bargaining. So if they want to share more revenues, that's not something they can do by themselves without negotiating with us. But there are things you can do, to the extent we have some teams that don't want to spend. There are things you can do to incentivize teams to spend. We proposed some of them last time. The league wasn't interested. Last time in bargaining, we proposed numerous changes to the revenue sharing system. We said, look, it doesn't make sense right now. You're giving all this money to certain teams and they're not spending it, and they're basically, putting the money away. And what we heard from the league was, we don't disagree on some of these things, but we can't change it. We won't change it. I mean, literally last time the league told us we will not change revenue sharing, period. And they didn't. They never wavered from that. Now, this time, it may be different. This time there are reasons to believe the league may be more open to that discussion, but you could make changes. It would have to be negotiated.
The belief is that there's going to be a holdout after next season, okay? So that's the belief, that they may lose. People think they're going to lose all season, or going to lose months. Like, people think this is going to get ugly. I listen to this guy talk. Nah, it's not going to get ugly. This isn't Donald Fear we're dealing with. Donald Fear was the guy who was a players rep. I called him Little Satan. He was the players rep against Bud Selig when he was commissioner of baseball, when they lost the World Series and every other damn thing. That's not this dude. This dude seems to understand what all needs to be done. And in fact, I think if I was a player, I don't think he's mean enough necessarily at this point. Jake Bauers, by the way, shame on you for that nonsense that just happened. Ground ball down to first base, and it did not look like to me that he really got going until he realized how fast Kim was going for the Dodgers. Picked it up, I'm just going to jog back. Oh no, he's faster than I thought, and then he gets beat to the bag. Like, that just can't happen. You cannot get beat to the bag on that play. I mean, good for Kim for the Dodgers for outrunning him, but shame on Jake Bauers. That's absolutely ridiculous. And then you got Caney out there who's just barely trying to get through as it is right now in the last few starts. Pitched well the other game, but again, they're overworking him. You can't be giving up outs with Caney on the mound at this point.
No, it's
anyways,
bad luck.
Sorry, I got distracted. That's why I should have TVs off in the studio. So anyways, if anything, if I was the players, I'd be concerned Meyer's going to give it up too quickly, right? I think if you're the players, instead of worrying about revenue sharing and where the money is going and all this nonsense. I don't worry about it. Y'all do what you want to do with the revenue sharing money. Y'all want to pocket it, you pocket it. But we're getting ourselves a floor. Plain and simple, we are getting ourselves some type of floor. If the floor is $100 million, floor is $120, whatever, I think the floor should be $100 million. If the floor is $100 million, then the Pirates, you have to spend $100 million. The Athletics, you have to spend $100 million, right? Y'all have to spend. The Brewers are around $100 million every year. So for the Brewers, they'll be at the bottom of that totem pole. But when you've got teams spending $250, $300 million at the top, that's still 3-1. That's still not even close. And I guarantee you there will be some owners that will fight tooth and nail that they shouldn't have a floor. But that is something that definitely should happen. There should be a floor to all of this. Like I said, I don't know what Meyer's point is as far as maybe there's a reason to believe that the owners now will be open to changing revenue sharing. I can't imagine what that would be. Maybe there's more money coming in, so now they're okay splitting more of it. We'll have to wait and see. Canning strikes out Ohtani. Is that what just happened?
Mm-hmm. On a nasty high pitch, too.
Ohtani's had a rough series outside of that one home run. A rough series. Okay, third clip.
And last up here, we're going to hear from Bruce Meyer.
Oh, they're pulling Canning? Oh, here comes Uribe. Sorry, go ahead.
We're going to hear from Bruce Meyer as he discusses the BPA finding other ways to incentivize small market teams besides changing the salary or creating salary cap, but the MLB did not want to hear it.
To fans in small markets, I would say, look, competition is crucial for us, crucial for players. Our market system that we have, it's not perfect by any means, but it relies on competition. To the extent we have teams that are unwilling to compete, it's not because the Dodgers went out and signed some players. I mean, that doesn't explain why, the Pittsburgh Pirates, for example, don't go out and spend money. It's not because the Dodgers spend money. There are other reasons why they don't do that. Now, we have proposed in the past, and I'm sure we'll propose again, incentives, ways to try and ensure that teams do spend the money they get in revenue sharing, to reward teams for being competitive. Look, we proposed last time in bargaining that small market teams that I think finished over 500 and made the playoffs would get extra draft picks.
Yes.
League wasn't interested. And by the way, small market teams already get massive amounts of revenue sharing.
They do.
They get an equal share of central revenues. They get from what they call the commissioner's discretionary fund. And they get advantages in the system. Small market teams have built-in advantages in our system, whether with respect to international pool money or draft picks. So there are already lots of things in there that are being done to try and make sure teams can be competitive. And as I said, small market teams, many of them have proven that they can be competitive. And so, look, I think what the cap gives some owners is an all-purpose excuse. Hey, I'd like to spend more, but I can't. It's fundamentally anti-competitive. But again, we have lots of things in our system already, and things that we have proposed and will propose is designed to incentivize competition and not reward teams that don't want to compete.
I would love to know what would, I'm sure the small markets, we can't afford that, which is a lie. But if you went and said, okay, the floor right now is going to be 125 or 150, and the ceiling is going to be 250. That's $100 million difference. That's a lot of money, right? That's 5 really good players to separate the top from the bottom. But the bottom is going to get brought dramatically up. And the top is going to get cut off a little bit when you talk about teams like the Dodgers and so forth, and get brought back to the pack a little bit. Now if the cap is 250, now your top teams will be capped there. Nobody can get to 3. Nobody can get to 350. Whatever, and can't continue to raise that number. So the Dodgers, the Mets, those teams all now are stopped at a certain point, which now means some of those other players, kind of fall back down to some of these other teams. Boy, I'd love to sign Ohtani, but we're capped. We can't. Somebody else is going to have to make a way of figuring out how to sign him to that money. I've always been a fan of the salary cap, and I understand a lot of people, look at, say, the NBA and talk about what they've done. They look at Major League Baseball and all the, as they call it, parity, because they have different champions every year of what Major League Baseball is. I still think the NFL does it the right way. NBA, I give them credit. Without having a salary cap, that first and second apron penalties and the luxury tax is brutal. The second one especially. Like, you are not going to allow anybody to have any type of dynasty in the NBA with that second apron. There's no way, unless everybody is playing for, dirt cheap money.
It is as close to a salary cap as I think you can get.
Yeah.
Essentially. These teams aren't, for the most part, willing to go over those aprons and do what they have to do, unless you're the Milwaukee Bucks, I guess.
Correct. And the Milwaukee Bucks just spend and spend and spend and spend, and don't worry about it. Worry about it later. Did you see the thing? We'll get to it. Things that we missed. You see the thing on the Brown Stadium?
I didn't.
The controversy?
Mm-mm.
People were mad at Jimmy Haslam? Oh, yeah.
Great.
All that money they had, the city was going to help with and all that, and where that money's coming from. Stay tuned for that one. So that was Charlie Sounds of the Day. Let me tell you about my friends over at U.S. Cellular. US Days is going on right now to July 16th. The good news is, if you are a customer of U.S. Cellular, like I am, like all my family members are, then you can participate in US Days. If you are not a participating customer with U.S. Cellular, then you don't get all the big discounts and everything else that comes along with it. The good news is you can always go to a U.S. Cellular store and sign up to become a customer, and then you can participate and have fun in US Days. Now, what does US Days do? Well, it's an exclusive event to celebrate loyal customers with unique offers. This includes big discounts on new phones and tablets, plus other giveaways and events like parking lot parties. Some of these around the country have had food trucks, DJs, bag parties. Check out the nearest one to you at uscellularparty.com. Again, uscellularparty.com, going up till July 16th. If you can't make it to a party, customers who visit a store or check out the website can also check out the best upgrades of the season right now with US Days going on to July 16th. Coming up here on 4 o'clock, Green and Gold update brought to you up next. Brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Brewers top of 9 right now. Abner Uribe in the game with a couple of outs. We'll recap that one when it's done, plus things that we missed coming up in the 4 o'clock hour as well. Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's. Live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.